Hello everybody. Today's video I'm going to be reloading a 30-06 or some 30-06 shells. I've got a gentleman that wants me to reload some shells for him, but he's already got his load data. He's a former reloader and he gave me his recipe. I don't know if you can read that. So I'm just going to use his recipe. Can I show you what we're going to do? We're going to, of course, 30-06 shells. We're going to use 165 grain Grand Slam from Spear. Here's what they look like. .56 grain of IMR 4350, which is right here. We're going to use Federal primers, and those are right here. Going to trim the cases to 2 inches 478. I believe that's what he had. Yep. With an overall length of 3 inches 165. And I guess he made some clear back in '94. I guess he's finally ran out and needs me to make him some more. So, all right, the dies today we're going to be using the Lyman dies, the 30-06. The decapping die, bullet seating die, and the shell plate. Alright, I'm going to install the shell plate into the holder. I'm going to get the decapping and sizing die. I know I've mentioned in the past about this little press, but I sure like it. I'm reloading some pistol with already, and I want to keep those set up, so I'm just going to rotate the turret over. Gotta bring the ram all the way up. This one has a cam on it, so you gotta bring that down to where it touches. You can feel that cam over. There we go. I'm going to lock it down. Okay, that one's set. Now let's prep the cases. Alright, I got all my cases tumbled, and I'm going to get ready to lube them. I'm just going to use just some regular case lube from RCBS. Make sure you spray it pretty good. If you haven't seen it already, I got a video out when I was reloading these about a week ago. I jammed one in my die, and I had to extract the case out of the die, and they're not fun. So I'm just going to make sure I get plenty of this lube on that shoulder. That's probably enough. Roll those around. Alright, let's put a shell in, decap it. I think that one may have already been decapped. Let's try another one. Okay, this 30-06 brass, it is a big brass to do. I typically don't do a whole lot of 30-06 because with that being my hunting shell, I only need technically only one shell, right? But I only do maybe a couple hundred a year is all. So I'm gonna finish the rest of this brass. Okay, I've already gone and installed the 30 caliber bushing for the pilot, and I've roughly already set the stop. Let's see. 2 inches for 70. Oh, sorry. It's roughly 2 inches for 79. I'll keep that where it's at. It's got a lot of material to come off. Two inches for 79. Okay. These little trimmers work pretty good. They're pretty easy. You just push them in these little, well, those little teeth there. Bring in the pilot, lock it down, and start cutting. And it's holding pretty consistent, 2 inches 479 to 2 inches 478.5 roughly. Okay, the next step we're going to do is deburring, and as you can see, there is a burr around the outside of the case and a slight burr on the inside. So I'm just going to grab my multi-tool here. Oop. Let it get in focus. Just do a slight chamfer, or countersink rather. Countersink on the inside. Or I'm sorry, wrong. Countersink's on the outside. Or chamfer, either one. Let me get that back in focus. There we go. And then I do a slight one on the underside. And then if any of you watch my videos, you know I always clean out that pocket. And I use this tool here, just put it on a drill motor. Just real quick to get a lot of that carbon out of there. Alright, there we go. There we go. So there's one down. And I'll do some more. Get it in focus. Like so. On the outside, like that, and then and the reason I do all of this to all my brass is just I want uniformity. I want everything the same. That way my results should be the same. So I'll go through and I'll finish countersinking and deburring all of these. And it doesn't matter if you're reloading a 223, 3030, 30-06, the process is always the same. It's just your load data will be different as far as your powders and your lengths of your brass. But the steps you do is always the same. So, and it looks like a good piece of brass too. Alright, I got them all deburred, and if any of you have seen my videos before, you know that I like to tumble these in some stainless steel media with a little bit of Dawn dish soap and Lemmy Shine, just to kind of get all the oil off these before I put any powder and the primers in. I just put the little bit of Dawn dish soap in. I'm just putting a little bit of Lemmy Shine in. That stuff really makes them shiny. Sorry, I just had to put a bag away. So I'm going to let these tumble for, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. And then I'm not going to show you the process after I take them out, but I'm just going to put them in the oven. I'm going to preheat the oven to the lowest setting it will go, which is about 175. And then once it gets up to temperature, I'm going to turn the oven off and then put these brass on a cookie sheet and then put them in for, I don't know, an hour until the oven gets cooled down. And if you want to see that process, I've done it on another one of my videos that you can go watch. So I'm just about ready to put these on the tumble, let them go, and I will see you guys after they're dried. I got the brass degreased, and I just got them out of the oven. But normally the next step would be to put the primers in. But there's something I want to talk to you guys about. For those of you that are just getting into reloading, I don't know if I'll zoom in here. See if you can see anything with these brass. See any difference? What we're looking at is see that primer pocket? How there's a ring around the outside of it? This was a military brass. There's another one. And there's another one. So even though we're reloading 30-06, the 30-06, they have military brass in 30-06. So the next step before I do priming is I'm going to swedge. And what we have here is an RCBS bench swedger. I have it for the large primer rod installed, and if you can see the little brooch down in there, that's going to clean out the primer pocket or reform it. So I just put a brass in, bring it down, just like so. Those are clean primer pockets, but I'll swedge that one. Okay, I'll try to get that out. It basically is taking this crimp out of there. I don't know if you saw that. Now I could put a primer in. I think I had like 8 or 9 military brass. I'll go through and do the rest of them. Here is one. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is install the primer press tool. Just put it in like so. Sorry, trying to do this backwards so you can see it. Okay, the primer press tool is installed. Now up here I've got a die that's going to be in that station, so I'm just going to rotate it around to where the pickup tube is going to be installed. And that part's ready to go. And then rotate them around. You'll want the anvils up. Let me see if I can get it better. See the anvils? You want those up. Now we're going to put the plate on. Rotate it around. Excuse me. Excuse me, hay fever. Now we're going to use the pickup tube and go through and pick them up. Okay, I'm going to put this tube down in. Alright, I got my primer tube installed. And I got my brass holder or shell holder in place. I'm going to go ahead and try to do one. I don't know if you could see this. See how it's not all the way flush or below the surface? I didn't do that tight enough or hard enough. So I'll do that one again. There we go, I felt that one. Oh yeah. And this was one of those military brass. So that will be good. Let's do a couple more. Looks good. If you find that you're putting a primer in and it's really hard to put in, stop. Something's wrong. You're going to probably bend your press, do something to your brass. More than likely it needs to be swedged. Alright, we are finally at the powder part. Now today we're going to be, like I said earlier, using 4350, IMR 4350. We're going to be dropping 56 grain, is what he has on his recipe. So what I've done is I've zeroed out a brass, and I'm going to go over here and drop a charge. Alright, I'm going to have a funnel. Oh, drop the funnel. And then the brass. And we're at 55.4 grain. I could try to just open it up just a little bit. Put the grain back in the hopper. And do it again. 55.5, 55.3. Open it up again. I'm going to try to get it as consistent as I can to 56, because that's what he wanted. .56, right on the money. I'll show the 56.1. It's settled in. So I'll do one more. And I'll drop the charge. .9, 55.7. That should be good enough. Alright, I'm just going to do those two shells for now. Next step is bullet seating and crimping. And what I've got is I've got a dummy load here that I'm going to use to set my depths. So I'm going to back actually the seating die out. I'm going to back the crimping die out. And I'm bringing the crimping die down till it just barely touches. Right there. Bring that down. Lock it in. And I'm going to bring the bullet seating die down to touch. And then lock it down. Okay, let's try one. There it is. Let's check the length. The length that he wanted was, I don't know if you can see this, 3.165. Oh man, we're at 3.163. That's pretty good. Alright, I'll load the second one in. Put the bullet in. Bring up the ram. And there it is. Let's measure it. .65, right on the money. So that's 3 inches, 165. Alright, the next step is to check the parts with the case head space gauge. And this doesn't look like a normal head space gauge, but when I went to my reloading store the other day, I came across this. And it's a head space go no-go gauge. But what I like about it is it does 6 of them, or 6 brass. It does 30-30, 270, 243 Winchester, 300, 30-06, and what's that one? Oh, a 308. Now the reason I bought this one, other than it does 6 with one purchase, this was roughly $24. And a normal head space gauge, let's get one. This one right here what's this for the 45 ACP. I paid $19 for that. So if you times, even $19 times 6, that's a lot of money, where I got this one for a lot cheaper and it does more. So this is the first time I've ever used this, but it's just like any other headspace gauge. You find which one you want, and we want 30-06 Springfield. Here it is. That one goes. Let's look into seeing what that one doesn't go. This is the only thing I don't like about this gauge, is if you get one that's tight, it won't come out, so you just have to have something on the other end to push it out with. But they both go. I'll show you one that I know that doesn't go. I was going through some 30-30 and see that how it doesn't go all the way. When I was looking at it, it's like, what is wrong? See those ridges right there? Or the ribbing? Here's some down here. What this is caused by is when I crimped the brass, I had too much down pressure when I was crimping it, and it rippled that. So that's something to look for when you reload, and that's why these headspace gauges work really well. It's a go no-go gauge. There's another one that doesn't go. So anyway, that's my quick video on reloading the 30-06. I hope you guys learned something new or found this educational or helpful. Thanks again for stopping by, everybody, and have a great day. Bye-bye.